Hi guys, Mariusz Steckiewicz here. A few weeks ago I have made a post on social media about my fat loss results, promising to share with you my strategy if you would be interested. And since many of you expressed interest, so here it is. How did I do it? Well, first of all, let me explain why I really bothered to talk to you about my case. Weight or fat loss is not that unusual thing to do, and many get amazing results. My motives are, however, to give you some encouragement and solutions for seem like a hopeless situation we are sometimes facing. And social distancing and hard lockdowns, recently rather common, are surely some of those situations when things can get out of control in a very detrimental for our health way. So let's dive into the topic. First, facts. My project started shortly before the long weekend at the beginning of May 2021 and ended up on September 25th when I have reached my goal. This makes exactly 22 weeks of focusing on lowering my fat percentage. I have started with 88 kilograms of body weight on my scale. Since the fat percentage measurements and estimations are never really accurate, I will just leave this out. However, I did measure this parameter as well for my own use, and I did have certain goal related to body fat, which was a single digit. Anyway, a couple of weeks ago I have reached under 72 on the same scale and measured at the same time of the day. I managed to maintain it since. Therefore, I consider it a valid, stable number. I need to mention that recently I have been struggling with annoying shoulder pain, which prevented me from regular weight training. So, the strategy. Talking about my strategy and the journey, I want to split the topic into a few parts. First and most important, the mindset. There wasn't really anything wrong with my health or weight, and I felt okay being 88 kilograms. However, I did notice a loss of muscle definition, and some of the taekwondo elements felt a bit heavy to perform. Other than that, I was an active and relatively fit person. The workload made it more difficult to arrange enough time for good training, and if I had time, I often felt simply tired. Having regularly 8 to 11 hours of personal training, clients 6 days a week, plus classes, can get heavy. This, plus enjoying food and a glass of beer or wine nearly daily, resulted in a slow weight gain, which came so slowly that I haven't even noticed it. But at some point, after some thorough conversation with my wife, we have decided to support each other and take care of our bodies. After all, both of us can be easily categorized as middle-aged. This means I have set my goal and rearranged priorities to focus and support the most important one, to transform my body. I have set few goals. First of all, the midterm goal was losing the first 10 kilograms. Final goal was 72 kilograms and around a single digit of the body fat. To achieve it, I have a commitment to lowering the calories intake. This is not rocket science, that if we want to reduce fat, we must create a calories deficit. Period. How we do it, that's a little bit more flexible. Everyone will have slightly different needs, preferences and cultural influences. There are many ways to lower the calories intake. I have decided on opting for around 13 to 1600 kilocalories daily, which I never really counted very precisely, but I'm aware of the food calories content, so that wasn't so hard to manage. Part of the commitment to my project was eliminating snacks while reducing the energy drops I would have often during the day, even before the lunchtime. To manage hunger, I have decided to reduce my calories by lowering the amount of carbohydrates and shifting the timing of the consumption towards the evening, while increasing fats and proteins throughout the day. Research shows that high protein consumption is associated with a reduction of fat percentage. So in practice, by lowering carbs from my breakfast to only coffee milk, I eliminated the energy drops during the middle of the day, which normally would cause me to eat a protein bar or drink some sugary drink. Instead of carbs in the morning, I focused on fats. Eating fats and proteins at the beginning of the day kept me easily full till lunch and even longer. What I found working perfectly as my breakfast choice at the time were 2 to 3 pieces of a nice sausage and a milk coffee, the Vietnamese one. I moved the carbs to the evening meal, and I chose to consume them in form of fruits. Apples and the watermelon were what we ate the most. My lunch would usually be a few hard-boiled eggs or a piece of chicken with some vegetables. Dinner was the meal which I changed the least. A fair portion of protein like a chicken or some fish or other sources of proteins, always proteins, some veggies and fruit, sometimes mixed with yogurt. Like I said earlier, I have never counted precisely calories, but I knew I was within the 13 to 1600 kilocalories limit a day. While I tried to reduce the calories, certainly occasionally I would feel hungry. In those times, I would either drink more water, have a protein shake or an egg. After waiting for 15-20 minutes, I would be satisfied, so eating slowly really helps. I didn't include any cheat days nor cheat meals in my plan. I went full on, focusing on what was really important to me. However, I did reward myself once or twice a week with 1 glass of wine or beer or even sometimes cocktail. Just 1 glass, and I treated it as a reward for eating clean the whole week. I also made sure my reward didn't shoot my calories intake through the roof. Here's another issue I hear lots of my clients struggle with: social life, habits, enjoying life, etc. Yes, all these things are present in our lives, and that is why it is very important to answer to ourselves, what is really important? What do we really want? If you say that you want to lose weight, but you cannot stop binding on snacks during the day, or you can't live without daily alcohol, or you are fooling yourself. You don't really want to lose weight, you just like talking about this. We live our habits and we create these habits. This also means that we have power to change those habits. You can refuse a daily drink, you can skip a meal, you can change what you eat and how much you eat if you are honest with yourself and committed. It is true that support of family is very important, so if you have a problem with this, you need to talk and make clear that you are on a mission. If you allow yourself not to treat your own commitment seriously, no one else will. Talking openly about our goals and plans can help others to understand why we do this. And if you make it clear to yourself that this is what you really want, others will have no choice but to accept it. It is within our responsibility to take this step seriously. Another point in the mindset was to make time for the training. This part was easy since the government introduced the wide range of restrictions. My workload dropped significantly, leaving me with rather flexible time for the project. In normal times, you would need to simply schedule your training and treat it as the highest priority. Next was focusing on what I could control. This seems to be the hard one for lots of people. We tend to worry a lot. We worry about work, money, family, vaccines, health, politics, rules, you name it. Plenty of things are happening around on which we often don't have influence, and they don't even directly affect us. But since these are topics in the news, in the conversation between people, we put lots of energy into it. In fact, it is beyond our control, and things will happen whether we think about it or not. There is literally nothing that we can do about it, but we like to worry. This is draining energy. consuming time and drive us away from things that we actually can control and use to our advantage. I decided to focus on what I could control. That was my calories intake, movements regimen, and daily rituals. These rituals at some point came as the top of my priorities when it comes to preserving sanity during the hard lockdown and staying focused on my project. And this is what I see lots of people fail when our normal life is being altered. The moment the government introduced hard lockdown, I have decided to move my office to home and keep working as if nothing changed, at least the office part of the work. That means I kept my alarm clock set every day to wake up in the morning, although I gave myself an hour of extra sleep, have my breakfast or at least morning coffee, and got to work. In the evening, we would watch some movie and go to sleep at the normal hours, as much normally as possible. I couldn't perform my regular work as the personal trainer, but I took the entire situation as an opportunity to work on my online side of the rehab and personal training service. After all, what I missed earlier was time. Focusing on that allowed me to actually develop and expand while having my regular work taken away from me. This was within my control. I haven't spent even a single day taking it easy. I have noticed among some of my clients and friends the downward spiral of events. Taking a few days off converted into weeks and months of sitting on the couch, watching Netflix while wearing pajamas, eating junk and drinking beer simply because we are stuck at home. This makes no sense. Being human and living our lives is not something given or taken by any government or rules. It is our attitude and our mindset. So I simply decided that this situation and change it brings in lifestyle will not last forever, and I must take the opportunity to convert it to my benefit. So from my point of view, mindset is the most important factor. The last element was certainly a training regimen. At first, I was able to use a gym, but the type of training was restricted to rehab since I had developed shoulder pain and was not able to load myself with anything heavy. So 4 times a week, I did resistance training, restoring my shoulder function. I was able to do some arms, back, limited chest and core. Lifting anything heavier than 20 kilograms was causing too much discomfort in my shoulder. I could, however, do taekwondo and kickboxing training. So 3 times a week, I did high-intensity combat training. 2 to 3 times a week, I did the typical cardio training, anywhere between 45 to 60 minutes of spinning on a stationary bike. After the hard lockdown was implemented, I took a couple of resistance bands and a kettlebell home and continued my shoulder rehab and limited resistance training from home. Due to lack of sufficient space or any cardio equipment, I chose to use staircase for my cardio routines, usually 30 to 75 minutes depending on the day. If on a day I did resistance training, I would add about 30 minutes of stair walk. If I didn't have any resistance training on my plan, I would go on the longer stair walk somewhere around 75 minutes. Overall, I planned on burning about 4,500 to 5,000 kilocalories weekly, and I executed this perfectly. This is how I did it. It's really simple, not easy, but simple. There are few points I still need to mention. First, you must understand the process and you must have full commitment to the method. Knowing the strategy, trusting the process and committing to the implementation keeps us focused. It is never a straight path down with your weight. I have decided to check my weight daily, first thing in the morning, right after my morning toilet. I did it because I was aware of the path and I trusted the process. It did happen often that even if I did stick to the plan and trained and ate as planned, my weight would suddenly go up. I didn't panic. I knew I had a plan and I trusted the process. So if I stay patient, it would work. And it did. Occasional bumps are normal, and we need to understand this. I didn't try to push my weight down every single day by all the means. I tried to kind of flip the number on the scale and let it settle for 10 to 14 days with occasional small ups or even downs. Staying consistent with my plan, after a week or two the number would flip again, and I was trying to stabilize it again. This way I had about 1 kilogram drop every 2 weeks. Sometimes the weight would go easier, sometimes it stayed and I had to add a little bit extra training to push it down. In the end, it all worked out so well that the last month I had to slow down the drop. The total body weight dropped by 5 kilograms during the last month. This was at the very end of the project. So this is my story. If you find it interesting or useful, use it for your benefit. If you want me to help you with your weight loss project, visit my profile and send me a message. I offer an online coaching service regardless of where you are. If you have any simple questions, don't hesitate to comment below. I will try to answer. And just give me a like, because I think this story might be likable. So stay focused and keep moving, guys. Thank you very much for watching.